Chapter 27. What the hell is Caleb doing here? My Monet painting exploded into a Picasso. I had hoped he would follow me, but I had given up hoping after the first couple of weeks.
I've been looking for you.
He said softly. I was in Italy.
I know. I read the news that you won. Are you playing the whole tour?
Yes, are you?
It depends.
On what? He tossed a chip in the pot and then leaned back to look at me.
You.
I took a breath and focused my attention on the table. I have a tournament to play.
And I have a favor to grant.
You don't have to.
I do, although it's not what you originally requested.
My eyes slid to him. You won't forgive me? I asked, as my breath lodged in my throat.
I was upset. It had nothing to do with forgiveness. You did nothing to be forgiven for, so you still have a favor you can use.
I have no favor to ask.
Then you can keep it for later.
Caleb.
It's yours.
He stated, ending the conversation, but not before he gently touched my leg and I felt the singe of his fingers. My breath hitched. How am I going to survive this tournament? Our eyes locked as we sat at the final table. Caleb had just knocked out a player, leaving the two of us heads up in front of a camera crew and audience. 5 beautiful women dressed in low-cut necklines and high-slit dresses walked out, stacking bundles of euros on the table. The prize. I didn't even know how much the prize was. I didn't care. The last couple of days I had focused on cards, except when I would catch sight of Caleb at a neighboring table. Our eyes had met several times, and each time my heart strangled itself a little bit more. He was close and aloof at the same time. It was as if he wanted to call me over only to turn his back. It didn't make sense. Why is he here? If it was just to clear his marker, he could have waited. How was I going to play heads up with him? I should just let him win and walk away with what shreds of a heart I had left. But I couldn't. Now that he was so close, I'd take whatever time I could. The women placed their last bundle, struck a pose, and then strolled off. The dealer put his hand on the cards to deal. Caleb motioned for him to wait. We both looked at Caleb in confusion. Caleb sat there for a moment, shuffling his chips in thought.
Nadia,
He finally said, reaching into his pocket to pull something out. I couldn't see what it was, but he held onto it as if it was precious.
the last time we were heads up was the first time we met. I fell in love with you on the spot, and then you were gone. We found each other again and you stole my heart entirely, and then you were gone again.
He opened the small box in his hand and pushed it to where the prize money sat.
I'd like another wager.
A stir buzzed through the audience. A diamond ring sat in the box, blinding me with sparkles. It was the most beautiful ring I'd ever seen. I closed my open jaw and turned my wide eyes to Caleb. A ring, I mumbled, dumbfounded.
If I win, you marry me.
His eyes sparkled just like the diamonds. And if I win? I asked, fighting the urge to make a blundering tell. Although, with a gaping mouth and wide eyes, that cat was out of the bag.
I don't lose.
He said smugly, knowing exactly how to bait and hook. But I was already hooked. How could I not be? Married to Caleb. I was willing to take whatever he offered. However, I'd never expected this. All in? I asked. He smiled and nodded.
All in.
I might win, I said.
Not likely.
He said with teasing eyes that lured. Our eyes mingled and we both shoved our chips in, the diamond ring twinkling in the middle. Even while shoving my chips in, I knew that he was going to win. He always wins except for the one time he lost. And things didn't work out so well afterward. Best not to think about that. As I looked across the table at Caleb, I knew this was what I wanted. He was what I wanted. Caleb gave a nod to the dealer to proceed. I watched as our 2 cards were dealt face up. I had a queen and an 8. I looked over at Caleb's cards. A 7 and a 2? Our eyes locked in remembrance. It's statistically the worst hand ever. Also, the same hand that I had lost to him in our last tournament. Caleb defied statistics. He was going to win, and I was quite happy to let him. For the first time in my life, I wanted to lose a tournament. Even if I wanted to win, there was nothing I could do. We were all in, and the dealer was setting down the flop. Married to Caleb. Our relationship might have had a rocky start, but it didn't matter because I could envision a wonderful life with him. I glanced at the flop, a pair of twos and a queen. I made a pair, but Caleb made a three of a kind. He was winning and smiling smugly. The heat in his gaze warned that there'd be a long, steamy, celebratory night ahead. God, married to Caleb, I thought again. Our kids would know how to wager before they could walk. Kids? Startled at the thought, I peeked up at Caleb, who still wore a smile. His gaze had never left me. Kids. I could picture toddlers with mops of caramel-colored hair and eyes as blue as a tranquil ocean. The turn was laid. A 10. I glanced at the ring, wondering how it'd feel on my finger. When I had pictured myself with Caleb, a ring never entered the picture. But the addition was perfect. For a woman who doesn't care about accessories, I was nearly giddy with anticipation, longing to slip it on. I'm sure it was written all over my face. I could already hear Roy scolding while he watches the final table on television. But who cares? I'm marrying Caleb. The dealer turned over the river. A queen. I smiled, and then frowned. A queen? I won. Caleb blew out a low breath and pushed back from the table. I won. I didn't want to win. Why do I always win when I don't want to? A swarm of people circled around me, congratulating me. Direction was given for the trophy handoff and interview. I pushed through to find Caleb. He was gone,